In Iraq, fear of an imminent coup ended this evening when the prime minister announced he'll quit. The United States ushered Nouri al-Maliki into power 8 years ago, but he's blamed for inflaming hatred between the two main branches of Islam, which gave rise to the extremist Sunni army known as ISIS. It was ISIS that brought the U.S. military back into Iraq. Today, President Obama said American airstrikes and humanitarian airdrops have broken the ISIS siege of Mount Sinjar, where several thousand refugees were said to be dying without food or water. Yesterday, U.S. forces landed there to plan a mass evacuation, but David Martin tells us what they found changed the plan.
As Defense Secretary Hagel was finishing a visit to a Marine base in California, the Pentagon was gearing up for a massive relief operation in northern Iraq, which could have put hundreds of American troops on the ground for weeks, if not months. But in the 4.5 hours it took Hagel to fly back to Washington, the Obama administration discovered there was no longer a refugee crisis and called off the operation. An extraordinary conference call linked Hagel in his plane with, among others, National Security Advisor Susan Rice and General Lloyd Austin, the overall commander for Iraq, to go over a report filed by a team of Green Berets directly from Sinjar Mountain, where the refugees had fled to escape Islamic militants. Although U.S. aircraft had been flying round-the-clock reconnaissance missions over Iraq for weeks, what the Green Berets reported was a revelation. There were only 5,000 civilians on the mountain, and only 2,000 of them wanted to come down. The rest lived there, tending crops and livestock. That contrasted with initial estimates as high as 35,000 to 50,000 refugees. None of the civilians still on the mountain were in danger of dying of thirst or starvation. In fact, some of the pallets of water and food dropped by the Air Force on preceding nights had not even been opened. 10,000 to 15,000 refugees had already left the mountain under their own power. An exodus, tribal leaders told the Green Berets, was made possible by the water and food drops, which gave the refugees the strength to travel, U.S. airstrikes, which had driven back the Islamic militants, and Kurdish soldiers who served as escorts.
The Air Force had originally planned for 21 nights of airdrops. Instead, Scott, they have been suspended after just 7.
David Martin at the Pentagon. Thank you, David.